We go fishing to catch fish. We don't go fishing to save money, okay? What's crack-a-lackin' everyone? It is another garage video today. And today I'm out cleaning my boat and there's a topic that came up that I really wanted to talk about. It is a very big topic of a very important lure that's probably the most important lure when it comes to bass fishing in general, and that is jigs. Jigs could be a very intimidating lure to throw in the beginning, and it can get intimidating because you don't get bit right away sometimes, or most of the times when you're first starting out. And so compared to a Texas rig, just the intimidation factor of the skirt, the jig head, the hook, the brush guard, the trailers, there's so many, it's so versatile that there's so many options of what to throw and how to even throw it in the beginning and where to even throw it. It can be very overwhelming, to just say. So today we're going to talk about 3 major tips that could help you, and in my opinion, they're really important tips that help you catch more fish on jigs, and that will help you gain a lot more confidence in your jigs. And jig fishing is something I love to do. I got boxes full of jigs, and it's something I actually love throwing jigs more than I do love throwing Texas rigs. If I can throw a jig all day, I'm going to throw a jig all freaking day. All right, so let's get right into it. Tip number 1 is going to be how you're working the bait. There is 2 specific baits I want to talk about on the jigs because there's several different kinds of jigs. And one is the football head jig. Let's see if we can. The football head jig has a head kind of like a football, right? So the football head jig is the one jig that I will, because of the head, that I will always drag it. And you're just going to see me and just slowly raise my rod up and just drag it and try to keep and maintain bottom contact. Because of the head is the one jig, that is my one rule. And with a football head jig, you're usually throwing it on hard bottom, rocks, you're ledge fishing, you're fishing a lot deeper. I mean, you don't have to, but it's usually a hard bottom contact kind of jig. And now the second jig, this one is the Berkley jig. They both are. No, that one's not. This one is though. It is the flipping jig. It kind of has like a flatter head. Something I like to skip. Flip it and pitch it into cover or around it. And with this one, so if I'm flipping the bank and there's just like a bundle of weeds or timber, rock, whatever, something stands out to me, I'm gonna cast to it. And when I get it and it hits the water, I'm gonna let it sit, and I'm gonna shake it a little bit, then I'm hop. Shake it a little bit, then hop. Or say I'm really just working it back. Okay, I'm not really pinpointing certain spots. Now I'm gonna cast it, and I'm gonna just like 1 inch, move my rod tip 1 inch, just barely lifting it off the ground. Now I'm not dragging the bait, I'm just hopping it off the ground just a little bit. I'm gonna do 1, and then 1/1000, 2/1000, 1, 1/1000, 2/1000, 1, and then I'm gonna mix a little shake in there, okay? You find that kind of cadence, and depending on when they bite it, like say if they're biting when I'm on the shake, then I'm gonna slow the jig down and really work an area instead of just moving it back. But if they're getting it when on the retrieve, when you're hopping it back, the bass are gonna be a lot more aggressive, in my opinion, and that reaction bite is what's gonna get you bit throughout the day. So that's when I'm gonna pick up the pace and just start moving it a lot faster back towards the boat. So that's tip number 1, how you're working it. Don't let it overwhelm you, okay? You don't have to get very, technical and get really mixed up. You're either dragging it with the football head jig, or you're just doing slow hops with it, bringing it back to you, maybe a shake here and there. Just whatever you can get confidence in. Once you get confidence in this jig, you're not gonna wanna put it down, I guarantee you that. The second tip is that go fishing to catch fish. We don't go fishing to save money, okay? So if you see a laydown that just looks like there's a fish hiding underneath there, you're gonna wanna pitch or flip in the middle of that lay down. You're gonna wanna go on every single branch, okay? When you were a kid and you were scared at night, what did you do? You hid underneath the covers. Them bass, they're gonna hide underneath the covers. So you're gonna have to get in there and pull that fish right out of the cover. Now, yeah, you're gonna lose a few jigs or a lot, but that's why we always buy a whole bunch. That's why we always have way more tackle than people think we need, but we need it all and we want it all. In my opinion, you can never have enough. But beside the point, when you go to a lay down, you're gonna wanna start, in my opinion, I always start on the outside. I start at the very end first, then I make my way on one side, then I start my way on the other side, in between the branches, around the branches, and then I get myself down in the middle. So the reason why I do that is because in my mind, this logic is if I pitched straight into the middle, say the fish isn't in the middle, say he's on the edge, well, there's a chance that me working in the middle, I might have spooked it and it takes off farther down deep outside the branch. But if I start on the outside, the fish is gonna stay contained where it's at, and I'm just gonna end up dropping it right in front of its face sooner or later. So if you think there's a fish in a laydown, most likely that fish is in that laydown. You're just gonna have to really get in the laydown. And it does suck losing a jig, but that's the reason for the brush guard that we got. This brush guard is supposed to help you when it comes to going in and out of cover. There are some jigs that have a wider brush guard for that factor. So experiment a little bit, see which jig works best for you. And when you're working on that timber, you're not gonna wanna like drag it, okay? You're gonna wanna move that jig up and down, because if you got the timber, say you got your timber and you're coming across, you want the jig to be moving up and down, so then when you get to the limb, it's coming back up. And usually at this point, when I'm moving up the limb and I get to about here and I can kind of feel where I'm at, I'll shake it a little bit. And then I'll move my way up, and then I'll let it fall back down. And when you let it fall back down, you let it sit. And then shake it a little bit, kind of like, just imagine, the way I imagine it is I pretend that there's a fish is looking at it the whole time. So I'm gonna slow down, I'm like, he's looking at it. I don't really know if he's looking at it, but I'm gonna pretend he is. And that helps me concentrate when I'm really working that bait in that timber to move it slow and to make sure I'm moving it straight up and down. Or because if you're dragging it, you're gonna snag your line into the bark of the wood. So you wanna move it up and down, kind of tease it a little bit right before it goes over the limb, goes back down, tease it again while it's out in the middle of the open, and then we'll keep working it up and down those limbs. That is the best advice I can give you. You don't wanna drag it while you're in the tree. You wanna move that bait up and down so you're not snagging your line on the branch or anything. It's the best way to get your jig in and out of that timber. That is like the most important tip I could tell you right now. Throw it in the laydowns, move your jig up and down, don't drag it or anything. All right, tip number 3, keep it stupid simple, okay? With colors, I'll give you 3 colors. 3 colors. You wanna go with a black and blue. Black and blue will work anywhere at all time of the year. You wanna go with a brown color. This one's like a brownish with a hint of blue, but the main point is we want to go with a neutral brown. Then we want to go with like a green pumpkin color, okay? With these 3 colors, you can do a large variety of combinations. But for beginners or for gaining confidence, stick with those colors. Use a trailer that is a simple trailer. You don't have to get very advanced with it. A simple trailer to put on it. It don't have to have crazy flappers. It could be just a simple little flutter on down. You can match the colors. In my opinion, when you start out, just match the jig. Okay, if you have black and blue, put a black and blue trailer on. Green pumpkin trailer. A brown trailer, or a green pumpkin trailer. Just something that looks more natural. Use that and just keep it simple. Even if you're not getting bit, it's probably because you're just not in the right area. You're just not shaking it and giving her a good dangle good enough. But keep it stupid simple. Don't overthink it, okay? And then once you start getting bit, that confidence is gonna kick in and your mind's gonna start to really have a good understanding of the jig, and then you're gonna try out these different combinations. And that's perfectly fine, because once you get that confidence factor in, trying out something new on that jig is just, you're still gonna have that confidence, and it's not gonna be intimidating. You're not gonna put you down, and you're still gonna get bit, because once it clicks, everything else is gonna click, and anything you try, you're gonna make it work. So those are my 3 tips: is your cadence on how you're moving it on the jig, and working those laydowns with the jig, and keeping it stupid simple. 3 important tips I think are extremely important when it comes to fishing a jig, being successful with the jig, and learning to really enjoy fishing the jig. This is the end of the video. My name's Deleen. This is Deleen's Outdoor Fishing. If you guys really like these videos or like more of these Garage Talk videos, hit that like button, leave a comment down below. And if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. My name's Deleen again. Like I said, this is Deleen's Outdoor Fishing. Until next time, folks.